We can do better, please. Can we go louder? Thank you so much, everybody. So without wasting much of your time, we'll delve right into it. Please, let's have the national anthem. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Kabiesi. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, first on our agenda, we have the opening speech by opening speech, which is the official introduction of Arthur Group and the need for a robust index. This opening speech will be done by the president of the Non-Interest Financial Institutions Association of Nigeria, which is NIFIAN, a person who has 25 years of working experience in banking and finance, led the establishment of a non-interest banking window at Stanbic IBTC Bank, Sterling Bank, and a full NIB license at Alternative Bank. He set up several Sharia funds and portfolios, including the Iman Fund of Stanbic IBTC Bank, the Wadiya portfolio, the Sukuk-backed portfolio, and the real estate portfolio at Trust Arthur Group. He mobilized over $300 million line of finance, LC, and equity in the last few years, pardon. Extensive hands-on experience in Sukuk, ESG finance, and non-interest product structuring at an institutional scale. He's none other than Dr. Bashir Oshodi. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give Dr. Bashir a round of applause as he walks up the stage. Please don't stop until he gets on.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I know it's probably the protocol, but I still want to greet my father, my king, my mentor, Kabisi, Okinyo, Ajakwelori, Badakwelese. Tuki Kabisi, Akodo, Obiki. I greet everybody here. I'm going to run through a very short presentation. Not to, it's just, I just want us to have a good feel of what we should be doing. Again, I mean, I'm greeting everyone. I mentioned that. And we have Mrs. Adela here. I'm extremely grateful that you're here. That's why a rather short notice. I've got our colleagues from Taj Bank, Mr. Michael, and all our colleagues, Alajo Ekon, Professor Tajuddin, Balamosi. I've got the president of Lekki Muslim Ummah. I've got our colleagues from Federal Mortgage Bank. I've got my board members, my friends, my colleagues. Thank you very much for coming. So next slide, please. So let me, I'm just going to take a few minutes. I only have 2-3 slides very quickly. I also have Miva University, Miva Open University. Thanks for coming. Let me run through. So, in these markets, we started about 10, 12, 15 years ago. But have a look at that. Just have a look at that. I'm not going to mention their names. These microfinance banks, they are controlling more than we're controlling. Look at them. 3 of them. $1 billion in valuation. The second one, $2.75 billion in valuation. The third one, $850 million in valuation. Imagine that. The first one controls 412 trillion. What's the size of the non-interest assets market? 2.8 billion. 2.8 billion for 13 years. Just imagine that. Like those guys have a microfinance license. Microfinance. Look at that. Their growth is 38%, 38%. That's their growth. The second company, microfinance bank license with a fintech license at the same time. They control 250 trillion naira. The size of our sukuk today, federal government sukuk, is like 1 trillion. 1 trillion. So you need that with a microfinance banking license that is fintech enabled, you can do so much. So what have we done differently or separately? Or what do we need to do differently as we go further into the next 10 years of our experience? I'm going to come back to this slide over and over again. Non-interest finance has grown at 15% in the last 13 years. 15. The bulk of the growth started to come up in the last 3-4 years with more players coming on board. These guys are growing at 38, 27, 12. I mean, apart from the last one that is growing at 12.5%, lower than that of non-interest finance. It shows that our growth pattern, does not fit in appropriately. So I have a long way to go. Next slide, please. Our Sharia scholars, I have a lot of our Sharia scholars. Professor Balamosi taught me in the university. Our Sharia scholars will argue in favor of what we call the Maqasid Sharia. Maqasid Sharia is the primary purpose of Sharia, which tends to touch human lives. So the question we then ask is, have we touched human lives? Are we bank traders, individuals, MSME? This is what those 3 names I showed you in the beginning. These are the guys they bank. Have we banked them? Next slide, please. Have we banked them? So, Sukuk, not bad, 1 trillion, timing. If we do Sukuk of 1 trillion every year for the next 10 years, we're going to be far from what the microfinance banks are doing. So if we do Sukuk of 2 trillion every year, we're still going to be far from it. So doing Sukuk of 200 billion, 500 billion, and then we get excited that it's oversubscribed. It's still a long way to go. I just want you to have a feel of what we're here to achieve as a market. Now, out of the 2.8 trillion size of the non-interest banking market, one of the banks control almost half of it. A little up to half of it. One of the banks. All of the banks. Now, as more licenses are coming up, what are we going to do differently? So again, I think for us, just let me go on. Next slide, please. So for us, the volume, the revenue, have we defined it? Have we truly defined our segment? Again, as the president of NIFIAN, again, my past president, Ms. Adela, is here. We rub minds together all the time. We're working together for the last 15 years. We strategize and come up with new things. But sometimes we get worried that all these efforts, can it yield results? Young guys from the comfort of their homes set up solid technology and they control more money than us. A lot more money. Young people, they work from home. Little capital, 100 million naira capital, they set up institutions. They have not done that. So how do we fill that gap? I'm worried. We need to raise 20 billion naira to get a banking license. What's the size of mortgage? As a percent of GDP, 0.5%. Mortgage in Nigeria, one of the lowest in the world. Now, what's the size of MSME market as a percent of GDP? 50%. 50%. Next slide, please. Yes, that's what I'm showing right now. So next slide. So I think to keep it very short, this is what these guys do. Provisions. Will a commercial bank fund somebody that needs 1 million naira to buy provision for a store? Will they do that? The processing time, the risk, I've got one of my board members, here, he's a control man. He's going to analyze the risk. beauty, personal care. Ajay Omani, nice to see you. Metlaw. Construction and building materials. Everybody wants a mortgage of 100 million, 200 million naira. These guys fund people buying roof, buying blocks. The Bankosi tells us that, Sheikh and Prof. The Bankosi tells us about the lives we must touch. But we have not touched them. You know, the time in Professor Nobi is going to be here from University of Lagos. We had a session with people doing cooperatives, housing cooperatives in Lagos. You know what they need to build their houses? 500,000 naira. To buy some blocks, to build a room. That's what they need. The microfinance banks are banking them. And so one of the banks I showed you has a balance sheet of 1 trillion naira. 1 trillion naira. One of the banks I showed you earlier on. 1 trillion naira. Food and drinks. Food and drinks. We must buy food all the time. I got my friends from Taj Bank. You know, if I want the facilities to organize some stuff, people doing food all over the country, can we get it quickly? You know, one thing is to get the facility. Another thing is the process. The process. If somebody can open an account on their phone in a few seconds, why would they go to a non-interest bank? How much more an asset management company? Why? Why would they do that? I think about provision stuff. A bit of oil and gas. Not the oil and gas I'm talking about. It's not the guys bringing in stuff from Switzerland. No. The guy's selling kerosene. I've got kerosene tank in the front of my face your houses. These guys control money. They fund them. We're not there yet. Next slide, please. So why are we even here? Why are we talking about all of this? So cook, tiny. Commercial papers, we checked. There is no Sharia compliant commercial paper that is listed today. I say my records are wrong. There is no Sharia compliant commercial paper that is listed. So if somebody wants to trade money from the Middle East or from North America, they're not going to find it. So the purpose of this is, let's have a robust index that gives sound market information. So that people can trade money very quickly. Crowdfunding. You know, there are some young guys, they have crowdfunding platform. They didn't even have SEC license. They started 2 years ago. I know one of them has 2 billion in their portfolio. 20 billion. Young guys in their 20s, crowdfunding platform, no SEC license. People invest in trickles into their portfolio. And there are many of them like that. I'm not going to mention names. Our funds, yes, you can boast that we set up this fund in Stanbic, we set up this fund there. Are they listed? So PFAs, I'm not going to talk about PFAs today, how much they control. They control trillions. Last time I checked, almost $30 trillion naira, right? But these funds, they don't, fund 6 is just about 200 billion. That's tiny. So it means our funds are not listed, right? So they're not attractive to PFAs. They're not attracted to them. Why? Why would they want to put money in an unlisted instrument? So again, the purpose of today is, yes, move from Trust Alpha to Alpha Group, where we have our new strategy is to partner more with people. So where we have deficiencies and where we're weak, we lean on others, right? With ideas, you know. If I can channel $200 million into the last place I worked, can I channel $30 million into my new entity? Or 500? Maybe not. We need to build that with others like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our host, Dr. Bashir Oshodi. I'm sure everyone here would agree with me that Dr. Bashir has a passionate feel, like he has this passion for Islamic finance, and I'm sure at the end of this event, we would all be asking ourselves, what really are we doing about this? What's the way forward? And I'm sure we're going to have our answers at the end of the day. So moving on, we're having our remark. Please, ladies and gentlemen, allow me do the honors of introducing our chairman of the day, His Royal Majesty Oba Abdulwasiu Omobolawan Lawal CON Abisogun II. He is the 15th Oniru of the Iru land and a highly accomplished public administrator with over 25 years experience in public service, urban governance, and socio-economic development in Lagos State. He began his career in the Federal Civil Service and the Nigerian Police Force, rising to the rank of Superintendent of Police and serving as aide-de-camp to the then Governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the now President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He subsequently served in several senior roles within the Lagos State government, including 3 tenures as Honorable Commissioner. As Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture and Cooperatives and later Agriculture and Food Systems, Oba Lawal led major food security and agribusiness reforms, including the Agri-Cares program, which is Eco Rice Mill, and agricultural value chain empowerment initiatives. Academically, Oba Lawal advanced degrees from the London School of Economics, University of London, and is an alumnus of Harvard Kennedy School, the World Bank Institute, and the Wharton School. Since his coronation in 2020, he has advanced the legit development agenda for Iruland, focusing on security, infrastructure, youth and women empowerment, healthcare and environmental sustainability through strategic partnerships and His Royal Majesty Abisoye II Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to do the honors of introducing our chairman of the day, His Royal Majesty Abdulwasiu Omobola Abisoye II. Ladies and gentlemen, you can do better. Please let's clap for him till he gets here. Please let's keep clapping.
The Royal Father Ekabo Zero Kingdom, Professor Guadamosi, Terasa, Agbayan Dalesa, all the distinguished guests here with us, Oniru in Council, Dr. Bashir Oshode, the CEO of Arthur Group. Also saw earlier Aja Adeola. Ladies and gentlemen, Lady Okera Thomas, I'm not surprised that you are here. Distinguished guests, respected regulators, industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all today to the official launch of Arthur Group. Your presence here speaks not only to the importance of this occasion, but also to a shared commitment to the future of Nigeria, to the future of Nigeria's financial and economic development. Dr. Oshode really spoke eloquently and he lectured us about where we should go, what we are not doing right, and now we should proceed. I'm confident that by the end of this, our event, a lot of us will have gathered a lot of information and knowledge about where we ought to be. Arthur Group was established with a simple but important purpose: to contribute meaningfully to the growth of a financial system that is fair, transparent, and connected to real economic activities. We believe that finance should support enterprise, create opportunity, and serve society. It should not exist in isolation from the people and businesses. It is meant to empower. Non-interest finance, which sits at the heart of Arthur Group, is not a new idea. It is rooted in principles that value partnership, responsibility, and shared outcomes. What is new is the increasing relevance of these principles in today's world. across the globe, the government, institutions, and investors are looking for financial models that are sustainable, ethical, and resilient. Nigeria is no exception. Author Group was formed to play a constructive role in this evolving landscape. Our focus is on building market infrastructure, supporting institutions, and strengthening confidence through sound governance and credible platforms. We are not here to replace existing structures, but to implement them by expanding the range of tools available to the market. Today, we formally introduce 3 initiatives that reflect this commitment. The Arthur Islamic Finance Market Index, which provides structured insight into the development of Nigeria's non-interest finance market, and our Aman Auto Commercial Paper, which demonstrates our practical engagement in non-interest capital market instruments. These initiatives are guided by one principle: that growth must be built on clarity, discipline, trust. Markets thrive when information is reliable, rules are respected, and institutions act with integrity. Author Group is committed to upholding these standards. I would like to acknowledge the regulators, market operators, professionals, and partners who have engaged with us in shaping this platform. Your guidance and participation are essential. No financial system grows in isolation. Progress is always the result of collaboration. As chairman, my role is not to speak as a technician or a financier, but as a steward of values, of long-term thinking, and of responsibility to future generations. Author Group will continue to approach its work with humility, discipline, and respect for the institutions that anchor our financial system. I thank you once again for joining us today, and I look forward to the discussions that will follow and to the partnership that will emerge from this gathering. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Kabiesi. Thank you so much. You know, when royalty talks, everywhere stops. Thank you so much, Kabiesi, for that remarkable speech. Thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next on our agenda is talking about the Nigeria's Islamic finance market in 2025, how Arthur's Islamic Finance Market Index viewed it. This conversation is going to be done by Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo, the team lead researcher on policy analysis, NESG. Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo earned a BSc Hons in economics from Lagos State University and an MSc in economics from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. He recently completed his doctoral studies at the School of Economics, University of Johannesburg. Before starting his studies at the University of Johannesburg, he has extensive professional experience in research, public policy, and management consulting. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo, team lead researcher on policy analysis, NESG. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give him a round of applause. Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, pardon me, please. Mr. Dr. Shakiruddin is not here, but I'm sure he is on his way. So we'll move to the next on our agenda. So we'll move on to the launch of the commercial paper. Ladies and gentlemen, please will launch the market index, the Arthur Islamic Finance Market Index, so that we don't waste Kabi's time. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to do the honors of welcoming them back on stage again to officially launch the Islamic Finance Market Index by Arthur. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause as they come outside.
Can we have the report, please? Can we have the report? They're there. Where? Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I'll call, I don't have that power, but I'll call my father, Royal Majesty, Above Niru. Please come forward. I want to acknowledge the presence of my mom, Alaja Oshodi. Nice being here. I want to call Ms. Adela to kindly join us, please. Alaja Oshodi should also join us, please. Alaja Oshodi. Professor Balamosi, please. I want to call Kabisi Akodo, please. Akodo of Akodo, kindly join us, please. Chief Missioner Ansaruddin, Sheikh Ahmad, can you kindly join us, please? My dad, Alhaji Engineer Ekon, please, can you kindly join us? I also want to call the president of Lekki Muslim Omar to kindly join us, Dr. Labinjo, please. Okay, so the purpose of this index is to, just as we've discussed, is to showcase market confidence, to demonstrate it so that globally, globally, people can easily, access this information. It's going to come out every month, by the way, for the next 100 years. So it means that we're going to be having first-hand reports on Islamic finance, what to invest in. So I want to kindly call on Kabesi to officially launch this document, please. Very earnest.
On behalf of the board of Auto Group, I would like to officially launch this document, the Nigerian Islamic Finance Market in 2025. As Dr. Oshodi mentioned, this document will be coming out regularly, and it's going to really help us in determining what we want to invest in and how we should invest. Today, the 3rd of February 2026, I hereby launch this index with, I will not with well, let me be conservative with 2.5 million naira.
we're not going to have bankers to launch in public. I know they won't do that, but when necessary. We're also not going to ask our chief imam and our missionaries to launch in public. Can have the copies. We'll discuss that informally. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Thank you, Raja. Jazakumullah khairan. Really appreciate you. I think I'll pass the mic to you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Kabiesi. Thank you so much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation once again and launching the Islamic Finance Market Index by Arthur Group. So moving on, we'll move on to presentation of Al-Amin Trustees, which will be done by a remarkable woman in her field. A remarkable woman in her field, Umahani, who is Hajia Umahani Ahmed, the managing partner of Metropolitan Law Firm. Hajia Umahani is the founder and managing partner of the Metropolitan Law Firm. Since obtaining her qualification to practice law in America in 2001, she has served in both the public and private sector, including her appointment as a senior special assistant technical to the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Commerce and Industry in 2009. In 2020, she was appointed as a senior financial flows consultant for the LINKS program funded by the Department of International Development, UK. Also, she sits on the board of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, Radix Pension Managers, 117 Capital Limited, and Salanta Capital Insurance Limited, and is a trustee of the Metropolitan Wealth and Islamic Endowment Fund. She founded to promote and provide formal education in northern Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming this force, Hajia Umahani Ahmed, and the managing partner of Metropolitan Law Firm. Please, let's give her a resounding round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Bismillah. Distinguished His Royal Highness, distinguished guests, practitioners, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum again. It is an honor for me to introduce Al-Amin Trustees. It is an institution born out of the gap many of us have discussed over the years, but which until now did not exist. Al-Amin is a trustee company. It is Sharia compliant and the first in Nigeria. We have discussed all of these gaps before because there will be structures, Sharia compliant structures, and then there won't be any trustee company that will take that Sharia compliant structure to the market. And that is why we saw the gap, which I and my colleagues have discussed times without number, and felt that yes, we have to introduce that company. And together with everybody's encouragement, we were able to introduce Al-Amin Trustees. So today I'm not only presenting a company, I'm presenting an infrastructure piece that Islamic finance in Nigeria has long needed, but not been able to do without. So the problem we had was that Islamic finance professionals appreciate problem framing. And for years, Nigeria has made progress in sukuk issuances, non-interest banking, takaful, and then Islamic funds. But yet, one fundamental element that was missing and remained unsolved was that all of these are done through a conventional structure trusteeship. So trustees hold, as I have already said, hold assets on behalf of others. They enforce covenants, they protect beneficiaries, and they safeguard sukuk structures. And they also manage estates of waqf and endowment funds. But the legal wrapper was conventional all of this time. So while the assets intentions are Sharia compliant, um, the trustee is not Sharia compliant. So Islamic finance cannot truly be Islamic if the guardian of the structure is not Sharia compliant, and that is why Al-Amin trustees. So as we all know, Sharia compliant trustee company is not just a trust company that handles Islamic finance transactions. It is a trustee institution whose governance, documentation, asset handling, investment of trust funds, default management processes are structured to comply with Sharia principles. So it's either you have a conventional issue, which is interest based, or you have the funds placed in halal instruments by the Islamic trustee company, or you have an ambiguous beneficiary right, or you have a clear contractual defined right under the Sharia, or you have a garral documentation that is uncertainty in normal conventional contracts, or you have precision in trust deeds under the Sharia compliance. And then you can have your assets misused, or you have amana, that is fiduciary rights in Islamic law under the trusteeship. So our structure is not just fiduciary, but also legal. And we have had issues of private clients trying to do Islamic trust, endowment funds, work, for example. And then, of course, we have been partnering with trustees in the last 8 years, conventional trustee companies who have tried to put the structure. We tried to help them with the structure. And there's this program that we have with First Trustees every year just before Ramadan. It's called the Islamic Estate Planning Clinic. So we put the structures in place, and then it is implemented by a trust company that is not Sharia compliant. So now this is all going to change. For our sukuk issuances, for our funds and all that, this is going to also change. I am glad that every one of us in the market is here today, and so far, trying to put Al-Amin trustees together, we have worked with every one of us in the market, and they have been quite supportive. We put our heads together and see that Al-Amin trustees has come to form. So I'd like to conclude by saying that Islamic finance or estate planning or your endowment funds or your Islamic funds and SPV will now go through Al-Amin trustees if you wish. And would like to conclude by saying that an Islamic financial system cannot stand on contract alone. It must stand on Islamic guardianship, and that guardianship is trusteeship, that silent structures behind every sukuk, every fund, every work has to be Sharia compliant. You cannot build legalities on illegality. And so now we have Al-Amin trustees introduced for every other Islamic financial transaction. And of course, I know that this is the beginning. Just as we started, we were about to open shop. We opened formally yesterday, the 2nd of February. And just when we got our registration, tech now increased share capital from 300 to 2 billion. So I'd like to also use this opportunity to tell everyone that we are here together, we are here to work together, and when it comes to the time when we need to raise capital for Al-Amin trustees, I am sure that every one of us in this room will also be part of this project for Islamic financial institutions. Thank you, Kadeshi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Hadia Umahani. I think one thing I didn't mention while introducing her was she is the chairperson of the one and only Africa International Conference on Islamic Finance. So she has a reputation on setting trends. Thank you so much, Hadia Umahani, once again. So we would be moving to the launch of the commercial paper, which will be done by the head of corporate finance at Ancoria Advisory Services Limited, a lady, a woman who leads the structuring and execution of capital market and advisory transactions across multiple sectors. She has a strong foundation in credit risk and financial analysis, shaped by her professional experience at GCR Ratings, where she was involved in evaluating financial institutions and corporate credit profiles. She is passionate about bridging conventional corporate finance, credit discipline, and Sharia compliant financial solutions to unlock new pools of capital. This is none other than Ms. Fumilayo Abdurrahman, the head corporate finance and Korea Advisory Services Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Fumilayo Abdurrahman. Are we getting hungry or tired? Please, can we, thank you so much. Thank you. All protocols observed. I'll be talking to you about a commercial paper, and I'm going to try to restrain myself not to overshare because we are still in the process. We are still reviewing, we have the Sharia advisors reviewing the document, so I won't tell you too much details so that I don't violate my regulators as well. So, but yes, trust also, we are cooking something. It's a commercial paper. An SPV has already said in this respect. Aman also, and we hope very soon that is going to be launched. And when we say commercial papers, what does it really mean? What are we talking about when we say commercial papers? Commercial papers, majorly what comes to mind for a savvy investor, you will know that we are talking about short-term instruments, liquidity, and sometimes it could be boring to some, but I can tell you that from our own perspective as an advisor, we've seen this also helping to deepen the market, particularly in terms of the non-interest commercial papers, which we've been seeing in recent times. And if you look at this compared to the conventional ones, well, for the conventional ones, everybody is used to it. So the Sharia compliance ones comes with a little bit of barrier because people are not very familiar with it. So you have to like educate people more and explain to them. And it comes with its layer of structures. You have the trustees, you have the Sharia advisors coming in place to help to standardize, to also ensure the compliance of this transaction. So, but I would say for the non-interest commercial paper, it's only better, particularly for me, even coming from credit, where the major question that is being asked is, can this issue actually play, can it repay? And when you look at non-interest structures, all these are covered because there's clarity around the cash flows, there is nothing hiding around the asset quality, you know what is being tied to the money, what the issuer is actually doing with your money, and these are backed by the cash flow, so you're not bringing any random money from anywhere. These are all properly scrutinized, and before even the Sharia advisors can give their compliance certificate. So yes, we are doing something, and we also hope that this is not just a one-off thing. We are hoping that this will become a recurrent thing. So it's not really about the size at this point, but majorly to see more of these issuances coming to the market, whereby issuers can come raise money repeatedly, and this becomes like part of their working capital needs. We can have this instrument being listed on the stock exchange like you have the conventional ones, and then investors who are particular about their principles can also get instruments that are available to them without necessarily sacrificing those their principles. So
We hope that this will come in very soon, and we hope that everyone will be on the lookout for this instrument as it comes soon and we get approvals. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Ms. Fumilayo. Thank you so much for your speech. That was really remarkable. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Shakiruddin is back. Do you think we should reintroduce him, or we should just have him come and do his lunch? Should we reintroduce him? You have the say now. I mean, I've been, in control, but I'm letting you have the floor. Should we reintroduce him? Okay, thank you. Okay, Dr. Shakiruddin. Dr. Shakiruddin, your profile has gone missing. Okay, yeah, it's punishment. Thank you, Kabiyesi. Alright, Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo earned a BSc in Economics from Lagos State University, Nigeria, and an MSc in Economics from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. He recently completed his doctoral studies at the School of Economics, University of Johannesburg, before starting his studies at the University of Johannesburg. He has extensive professional experience in research, public policy, and management consulting. Okay, Dr. Shakiruddin, please. You're welcome. Okay, we have him. You're welcome. Also, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him that round of applause that he missed earlier.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sirs. Good morning, ma'am. I think I will have to first start an apology. I'm very, very sorry for missing in action the other time. And I hope I'm forgiven. The Kabiyesi said that's my punishment. I hope that's a turn for it. So thank you very much. And first I want to start. Thank you to the author group for this opportunity to actually present this on their behalf. The Arthur Islamic Finance Index report. It's meant to be the market-based intelligence report that sort of not only examine the whole market, but provide insight into performance of the key sub-segments of the Islamic finance market in Nigeria. I know for some people, we are asked Islamic finance is only bank. It's Jais, is this, but it's more than that. And that is what this index is to do. Aside from that, it's also meant to ensure that everyone is interested in the development of the market. Because from what has been seen from research is that due to the knowledge gap, the interest in the market is also low. So everyone is scared to actually put their money into what they don't understand. So this 2025 report presents from 2021 to 2025 what has been happening in the Islamic finance market in Nigeria. And most importantly, why 2021? Why don't we go a decade back to 2011 when Jais Bank made that entry? But we are sure that in economics, post-crisis era is the best time to assess development. We have had three sort of crises between this period: 2012, 2016, 2020. So it's good we start 2021 where everything seems good. Next, please. So the Islamic Development Bank in Nigeria, according to Fitch report, says it's $4.0 billion as of June 2025. So it is then important to look at this, and if we multiply this, this is almost a 5 million trillion naira market in Nigeria. Funds sitting on a daily basis, people trade on these. Then is that why? What is really going on? It's big enough for us to ask this question. Next, please. It's then very critical that we look at the snapshot so that we don't bore ourselves with figures. And I'm sure a lot of us have not opened that book in front of us. That booklet is detailed, and it is expected that when we are done reading that booklet, we are going to put a call through to Dr. Bashir to say, please, I have this X billion naira somewhere. I want to put that is our belief. It's year-on-year growth in terms of asset size is 5%, 5.3, even higher than Nigerians' growth in the first three quarters of 2025. You know, 1.3 trillion was raised in Sukuk, but the Sukuk of March 2025 was over 400%. So in Nigeria, the only market aside from the bank is also the Sukuk. Every time I drive, immediately I descend from Akpabon Bridge down, stretch to our new coastal road. That is what Sukuk has done, the FG Sukuk, and the bigger ones as well. So what we are saying is this, and we have seen that the non-interest capital market is 1.6, but our index says the whole market is just still 60.1%. You will know the meaning of this 60.1%. Let's note the figure, please. Next, please. So it's very, very critical that we then ask these critical questions around what is the next thing. This is what it means. This is how the market has grown over time, Islamic finance market. At this stage, the market is assessed based on Arthur Islamic Finance Market Index. We are currently at the growth and integration stage as far as Islamic finance is concerned in Nigeria. I am sure there is no institution, government that is not interested in Islamic finance. I'm not sure today. Whatever they are developed, even Nigerian's budget, FGN budget 2026 has a Sukuk component there in. That's the national document. So at this moment, it is at growth and integration stage. Our plan or our vision is that by 2027, it's going to get to the maturation stage. Without our support, it's not going to get there. But this area has grown over the year. This is as of December 2025 on a month-to-month basis. Next, please. So it has then moved from that niche market to then a national pillar for growth. So we have seen that the overall index it's transformational for us. It's just very critical that we did a deep dive into the sub-segment of the market, which I will run over. We then understand that the success that this market has achieved between 2021 and 2025 is driven by regulatory support and robustness. Just last year, the FRSC has adopted the IF, and CBN also did a lot of maturization, which means that the market is growing significantly. And we then see that the horizon for the future is of opportunities. Either in the fintech space, either in the bank space, a lot. So the next question I know Arthur Group is asking this morning is, where do you want to be in that four quadrant of the opportunity? Do you want to be the early starter and the growth contributor, or we want to stay at the looker, pessimistic looker level, which we've seen that's what we have in the market? Next, please. We then do a deep dive. This is how diverse the market is. We have the corporate Sukuk. At the moment, it's still the family homes that is listed on FMDQ. We have a lot of fund managers that are here seated. We have our Sharia compliant products. But because we need to get it listed, it increases the governance. And I think that is also the depth of the market is still very shallow. I was speaking recently with Dr. Bashir. I said virtually all asset management firms in Nigeria have Sharia compliant products, not more than one or two, but majority stays at that unlisted space. So we need to push it. Then the Solving Sukuk, our FGN is doing great. Is at advanced and maturation stage. We have the non-interest banking still at growth and integration stage. And we could see Taj Bank raised a huge fund last year and made it to be the biggest non-interest bank by asset size in Nigeria, over $1 trillion. That is probably half of the 2.81 trillion naira asset of the market as of June 2025. So that's to tell us what newcomers can do. We know the Jai is the traditional market frontier, pioneer, but that is what we can do. Then Islamic equity measured by the Lotus Halal ASL is the fastest growing. It did a record high even more than the NGX or share index last year. We will see the numbers. Even the listed commodities equities has increased tremendously. Previously it was 15. Now you have it close to more than 45. Bois. Previously you have Okumu all those in there. Now you have our normal index. Then we have the subnational. 3 northern states have said we are also doing our own Sukuk, Samfara. You know what it means when people are taking. But at the moment, the only listed subnational Sukuk is Lagos. And that's why Lagos probably is the center of excellence. So next, please. So we don't have to do this. So the Solving Sukuk is the most advanced. This is the month-on-month performance. We shouldn't forget by December, one of the earliest sukuk was liquidated, and that's a success. Entry and exit, investors duly, liquidated and paid. That's what I've done. 71.1 is the most advanced, and it's growing. And just like I said, was mentioned, and I actually mentioned this. It's 735 over subscription of what the government planned to do. From 3 billion, they raised 3 trillion. So it's 735% over what they planned to raise. Next, please. We then have the corporate sukuk market, and where we have the non-interest bank as well. At the moment, our non-interest bank has moved from 0.8%. I usually remember the slide that I presented I prepared for Dr. Bashir at the event there. It was 0.89% as at that year. At the moment, it is edging to 2% of Nigeria's banking assets. And that is growth for the market. And we have measured it as well. It's growth and integration, but you could do more. Next, please. We then see what has happened in the subnational, in the equity market. So this is what it did. This is a self-evidence or proving performance to show that Islamic finance is not a push aside, but now a national pillar for growth. This is 93.4%, while the all-share index of Nigeria did 51%. About a double of what the all-share index did. And when we do the calculation backward, you could say those equities that were listed under the Lotus Halal contributed around 40% to whatever performance the NGX did last year. So this is saying that these are space we could also push in. The subnational is also key. So this is what we'll see. Osun started the race. Lagos took on the race and is doing more than Osun. Ogun State has shown interest. Zamfara and Kano have showed interest in listing a sukuk, but it is actually the most underdeveloped segment of that market, the subnational. And the policy space at the moment, we are not talking about federal alone. We are asking questions. How can states contribute to national development? So these are questions where our sukuk is an activator. So that is what we said is a waiting activator. So when, as asset managers, we discuss with some of these government officials, these are what we need to keep bringing to the fore. Some of them are scared, some of them are not clear. So this tool is a monthly tool, which is on the website of Arthur Group. It's a monthly based analysis that we are using to measure the market. And it will be published at the first week of every month, where we go online and we'll check to see Arthur Islamic Finance Index for the month of January 2026 will be published next week. We don't want to have it class. So for next week it will be published. It will be available on their website. You can also read more on the narrative. What are the drivers of Islamic market performance in this month? Is very, very key. Very, very key. Next, please. We then ask ourselves the question. This growth we are celebrating now, or we have seen through this index, what has been the driver? One is enhanced liquidity, and it is the central bank that has done that. All thanks to His Royal Majesty Muhammad Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. It is him, or we say Charles Soludo, starting the and Sanusi continuing. It is what they have done and a lot of innovation. We also see improved transparency for those that are listed financial instruments in the market. There's no way you would allow the financial product to be listed and you will not be scrutinized. Aside from a lot of these financial products have their advisory Sharia councils that review, and I could see a lot of them in the room. May God bless every one of you. And I'm just that section you have with the fund managers where they bring their proposal and you have to say this is not Sharia compliant. Yeah. Now some conversation with Dr. Bashir will tell me, why you say this? They said this line. This line we need to. It is about improved transparency, and the last is strengthened resilience. It is very key. Next, please. So it is what we see. It's a global trend thing. The market is expected to grow to 5.6. We are thinking with what we see in the market by 2026, this market will add $1.9 billion to that market. That is what we would see at the Arthur Group. And we know there is a global ambition we did with our $500 million US dollars sukuk that we have. We know that the government is saying we want to then go to do this. We see that. We're seeing dumpling ecosystem. They will launch a lot of products here today, and other people are also developing products as well to dampen the market, to ensure the market grows. Next, please. And for us, it's clear. The message is clear. Islamic finance market, even from the index, shows it's a mature market. I didn't say matured. It's a mature market. It's intentional. So it means we need to put the D to the front. We need to do all effort to ensure that D is there. But it's a mature market. It's a sustainable model for growth, for development, for support of enterprise MSME. It's a sustainable model. It is what we can use to grow this economy. And it has a lot of unfolding opportunities for us. So for us, we wanted to transit, though he has done that, from just being a niche market into a strategic pillar of our financial system, poised to play a defining role in financing inclusive and sustainable national development goal. I want to say I am sorry for the missed, but I hope this is able to compensate for it. Thank you very much.
Dr. Shakiruddin, you wowed me, because if not, thank you so much. I'm sure everyone here agrees that was a fascinating conversation with Dr. Shakiruddin. Please, can we give him a round of applause, because that was really commendable.
So I need to adjust the mic. While I was there, Mr. Balamoti called me. He said, Bashir, don't ever be shy of doing prayers. Because these are the prayers. It was no intentional. So I'm going to recite, I'm going to be the one to do prayer. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to teach, I'm going to mention all the prayers he taught me. سبحان الله وبحمده وذكره ورد نفسه وزنة عرشه ومدار كلماته يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين ويا ذي القوة المتين ويا رحم المسكين ويا من الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. So if all are satisfied, we'll do the closing prayer too. Thank you very much.
Amin. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Bashir Oshodi, and our dear father. All right. So I just want to do a little exercise. Please, can I have our attention? Okay. Do all of us have Instagrams on our phones? Instagram. We do? Does anybody here? Is there anybody here who doesn't have? I don't know if our fathers have Instagram. Well, please, if you do, can you please go on your Instagram and type Afro Group? Can you please do that? I'm not seeing your phones. Hi, please. Afro Group on Instagram. KBC is dialing his phone. I'm sure KBC has Instagram. Who here does he have? Afro Group. Please, can you give that page a follow? Let's please give that page a follow, because Afro Group has done remarkably well. I mean, I am intrigued. Please, let's give Afro Group a round of applause, because after Dr. Shakiruddin's presentation, I am wowed. I remember when the presentation started, I said, we're going to be having a lot of questions. We're going to be asking ourselves a lot of questions. What are we really doing? Where are we heading to? And Dr. Shakiruddin has dropped the nuggets. Let's add a D to the mature. Let's make it matured. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much, everybody, for being patient and for being here. Please, I'd like to recognize a few special persons in this room with us today. I'd like to recognize His Royal Majesty, Oba Abdul Hakim Olokodano Alakodo of Akodo. Thank you, Kabisi. I'd like to recognize His Royal Majesty Oba Ibrahim Saliu, Oba-elect of Imedu. I would like to recognize Honorable Mojisola Lasbat Miranda, the Deputy Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. I would also like to recognize Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmad, the Chief Missioner, and Saruddin. Assalamu alaikum, sir. I would also like to recognize President Asaruddin Alaji Kazim S.A.N. Assalamu alaikum, sir. I would also like to recognize Professor T. Badomasi, Professor of History, University of Lagos. Also recognizing the presence of President Jamaatul Islamiyah Engineer Hashim Oyekon, DOT Chairman, Island Muslim Community, Alaji Ebiti. Also recognizing President Lekki Muslim Ummah, Dr. Labin Jaslam Alaikum, sir. I would also recognize Professor Professor Benga Nuri, Professor of Estate Management Center for Housing Studies, University of Lagos. Also recognizing Supo Ati John, S.A.N. Also recognizing Afolabi Olorode, CEO Crest Merchant Bank. Hello, sir. And I also see the president of RIFP, Dr. Tajuddin Salahuddin. So that's Yusuf, yes. Thank you, sir. All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for us. We're going on tea break. Let's meet after tea break. Please, a round of applause for ourselves. Are we not excited? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Step out just so that we can juggle our buddy. And so while we're having tea break, we'll also be having a photo session with Kabiesi. Please, Bukola, please, can you please, or somebody in our group, can you please coordinate the photo session? Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bashir, the host, has said he has decided everybody should have their seats and your food will come to you instead of you going to the food. Where Muhammad doesn't go to the mountain comes to Muhammad.
Transactions means that you gain rewards if it is profitable, and if there's a loss, you also absorb the loss, right? Again, for every 10 companies, you put equity, you take equity position in. Maybe one or two be successful.
Okay.
One or two. So it means that, one needs to also be very careful in that space, so that, you invest appropriately. Again, it's more pronounced in our own economy, even advanced economies, like even the US and European countries. You still have this challenge. How much more our own country with a lot of, inflation and all of that. Now, you can also have, a real estate portfolio or investment. Now, the real estate one,
I hear that's where the cash is there.
it depends on where you look at it. So when there's price risk, there's also price risk, and of course inflation and exchange risk, what we call predictable surprises. When they hit you, such as, of course, MPR, monetary policy price, and all of that, rates. When those prices spike and inflation spikes, I already put a price on your real estate, on the unit. It means that there will be stability. So it then means that even that can be dangerous. Now, when you deal with clients, I wouldn't say they're not ethical, they are, but they will not be financially literate. Like we discussed the other time. So you can imagine you put, for example, 5 billion, 3 billion in a real estate project, and the owners of the project take that profit up front.
Wow.
You can say that even though they've gone to good schools, they're still not, I mean, the second largest, real estate company in the world, real estate development company in the world, in China, and went bust, right? Not because of anything, they were overtrading. So even as a real estate person, you can overtrade. And when you overtrade, it means your
neither here nor there.
Exactly. I don't want to use technical terms now, but you have more loans than your receivables, and when they're expecting to come in. So at the end of the day, that transaction may be very bad. And again, because of cost of funds, which can be constant or may rise, and it then means that the longer you don't finish the project, the more it becomes unviable. Even though real estate is a very viable business, the function of the party, the character of the party, that then determine whether it's going to be a good business or not. We've all made a mistake in the market, right, on real estate. Right, so let me quickly move to another commodities. Again, like I said, risk asset means that there must be production back end. They're giving money to farmers to produce. If they produce and some guys go down and everybody and kill everybody, you're not going to have crops. Nothing is going to grow. Right? So that transaction will go bad, right? And so investors want to play in the commodity space rather than the production space. Production, you have a friend, you have a farm, a lovely farm.
Agro-alike now.
Exactly. And this guy said, he drew him out of his farm. I thought he drew him out. You have to leave the town. He went to, he left wherever he was and moved to another city. He started doing real estate agency, right? Now, when you have a lot of people experience that, it then means that production then is a very volatile space. So no interest banks then like commodity markets, like commodity that is just buying and selling, local or foreign. Again, that is what is very challenging. So for every transaction, it comes with their own unique risk. And they're also exposed to volatility. These are the broad asset classes, that you can put in, investment.
How have you been able to mitigate the various challenges in the ethical and the ethical investments as well?
Okay, thank you very much. So, so as a fund manager, we basically invest people's funds in different portfolios.
Okay.
Now we want to ensure that we spread those investments, so for us, I think our interest has been mainly sukuk, real estate, commodities, and of course, keep on investing as cash. You shouldn't invest in non-interest banks. Because when you invest in non-interest banks, it means that anytime you want to redeem, if you want to break the investment, you want to stop the investment, you can easily get your cash back, right? Again, there could be penalty if you invest for 90 days, and after 6 days, somebody say, I want my money back. You have to go and liquidate that investment. Now, if you invest somebody, you can also have a sukuk back note. Again, I'll talk about that subsequently. But if somebody invests their money in sukuk and the for 5 years, you have to hold on to maturity. If you want to go to the secondary market to liquidate, to sell, right? So it means that we're not going to be responsible for that. Just go to any of the exchanges. I don't want to mention the names now. Go to the exchange, you get your cash back, and you're free. So what we try to do most of the time is to put funds in at least 4 asset classes, 4 is spread it. The longer the fund, the better the return. So if you,
Naturally.
exactly. So if you give me a 1 year money now, for 365 days, and I'm supposed to put in real estate, or you give me money for 2 years, I'm supposed to put in real estate. I can presently put money for the things and show you get good return. If you give me the same amount for just 90 days, it means I have to go and place it somewhere else. Right, so your return automatically be low, but also need to make a very small spread. Right, and that's the reality market. Now, asset management companies don't create assets. You don't create risk assets. You don't give out loans. Right. So what that then means is that it's only the bank that can stay in that space. If the bank can stay in that space, you give them your own money, and the bank can as well create. But can create portfolios, right? Another very amazing portfolio I've discovered, first from research and again back to phenomenology, practice. And if you like, let me also use this word called critical realism. Right?
Okay.
Critical realism is when you mix empirical research with the actual and the real. On the one hand, you have empirical research, figures. On the other hand, you then practicalize it and you experience reality. It then gives you the actual result.
Are people really investing enough? People don't even think. Maybe just to keep their. Somebody can even keep their money in the bank for years. I do. That money can be invested, right or not?
Correct.
Yeah. Let's go for a short break. We'll be back.
Today we will be looking at an aspect of business that seldom businessmen and women consider serious. While growing up, I used to manage a shop that was owned by my dad. Subsequently, after he passed on, he died in 1975. While in the university, I was managing my elder brother's shop, and we were selling fabrics, yards, guinea brocades, upprint, and the rest of them. I was a student of accounting, and then whenever I'm on holidays, I come to the shop and I run the business. And the only records we keep were two: those that the business owes money to, and those who owe the business. We never had, any record that we kept as to how much did we buy this item, how much are we selling, are we making profit, or are we, not making profit. Now, what am I trying to say? Dear entrepreneurs, it is extremely important, no matter how small a business is, whether nano, micro, small, medium, or large enterprises, you must, as a matter of priority, commence and start with what? With bookkeeping. Let's give an example with, say, a bole roasting woman along the street of Lagos, operating successfully, but they were living.
Today, you find less than 20 companies in the stock market that can invest in. Out of these 20 companies, by the time you survey to the second level I talked about, the second level of screening, the financial screening, you'll be left with just 4 or 5.
Wow.
Yes, at those points in time.
Go Nigeria.
The whole of Nigeria.
Wow.
So that means that market is small. Of course, because of volatility in the stock market, right? It means that when there are spikes or things go down, when it's volatile, it means you lose income, right? And that's why what happens practically is that investors and fund managers don't put all the money in one portfolio. They spread them into several portfolios. I only thought about one, equities.
That's exactly what I want you to really dwell on. When you say equity, you're taking it for granted that everybody, financial inclusion, you remember?
Yes.
So let's really know what is equity.
So when you say equities investment, we're basically talking about the stock market. Basically, stock market. Right? When you say equity investment or private equity, I'll come back there. I'll come there. When I'm done with equity. So in the equities market, another similar investment is real estate investment trust. Real estate investment trust falls under the equities market. The good thing is they are dealing with listed real estate companies. In some jurisdictions around the world, they allow entities that are not listed. In Nigeria, mainly you have to be a listed entity. That is, must be listed. You must be a PLC if you like. You must be on the stock market.
Was he a big player?
He's a big player. Now there can be equity REITs and mortgage REITs, right? You know, I don't want to go into too much details.
Technical.
But the point is that equity market also is subject to volatility, market volatility. So that's on the one hand, equity. Another form of investment can be equity-based transactions. Now, equity-based transactions are very high risk, high reward. It's like a startup. You know, your equity. You know, if you allow me to use the terms, the likes of partnership, joint ownership, and equity participation kind of investment. Now, these transactions means that you gain reward if it is profitable, and if there's a loss, you also absorb the loss, right? Again, for every 10 companies, you put equity, you take equity position in. Maybe one or two be successful.
Okay.
One or two. So it means that, one needs to also be very careful in that space, so that, you invest appropriately. Again, it's more pronounced in our own economy, even advanced economies like even the US and European countries. You still have this challenge. How much more our own countries develop, and all of that. Now, you can also have, a real estate portfolio or investment. Now, the real estate one,
I hear that's where the cash is.
it depends on where you look at it. So when there's price risk, there's sort of price risk, and of course inflation and exchange risk, what we call predictable surprises. When they hit you, such as, of course, MPR, monetary policy price, and all of that, rates. When those prices spike and inflation spikes, I already put a price on your real estate, on the unit. It means that there'll be stability. So it then means that even that can be dangerous. Now, when you deal with clients, I wouldn't say they're not ethical, they are, but they may not be financially literate, like we discussed the other time. So you can imagine you put, for example, 5 billion, 3 billion in a real estate project, and the owners of the project take that profit up front.
Wow.
You can say that even though they've gone to good schools, they're still not, I mean, the second largest, real estate company in the world, real estate development company in the world, in China.
Oniru, Oba Oniru of Iruland, you're welcome back. Kabiesi, you're welcome back, distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you're still outside, please come back as we continue with our program of the day. Can you please notify anybody who is outside so they don't miss out on this next chapter? We'll be moving on to the presentation by the panelists. the panel session, which will be Islamic finance markets in Nigeria transiting from niche markets to national pillar. First of all, I'll be introducing on our moderator of the day. I would like to invite Ms. Toyin Kekere Ekon, the Director and Chief Executive Officer of Lotus Financial Services Limited. Please, Ms. Toyin Kekere Ekon, can somebody please help call her? I think she's outside. Ms. Toyin Kekere Ekon. Please forgive my pronunciation if I'm not getting the intonations right. I mean, I'm trying. I can try again. Okay, Mr. Martin said I can try again. Miss Toyin Kekere Ekon. Did I get it? Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Toyin Kekere Ekun, who currently oversees the business development and operations of the Lotus Group and has 24 years experience that traverses financial strategy, business development, Islamic finance, and business process management. She's also a non-executive director at Lotus Bank Limited. Ms. Toyin Kekere Ekun previously worked at Guarantee Trust Bank Corporate Banking Group, where she conducted credit structuring, loan syndication, and relationship management for large local corporates and multinationals. She also worked in the bank's treasury, where she headed the ALM department, managing the balance sheet structure and liquidity to ensure adherence to all CBN treasury regulatory. Holds a BSc in accounting from the University of Lagos. She also earned an MSc in finance and management from Crownfield School of Management in the UK and is certified as a specialist by the CRFA Academy Board. She is an alumna of the Cambridge Finance Leadership Program, Harvard Kennedy Education Program. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a fourth in Islamic finance industry, Ms. Toyin Kekere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I recognize His Royal Highness and all other protocols duly observed. I'm honored to be here today. As someone who was there at the start of the non-finance industry 2 decades ago, it's interesting to see the growth, and we also witnessed the grunt required to actually grow the industry. So I'm actually honored to anchor this session. We have very interesting speakers lined up for today, and I'm very sure that you're all excited to hear what they have to talk about. So first up, who I'll be introducing is Mr. Abimbola Babalola. Right. So Mr. Abimbola Babalola is the head of trading and product in the Nigerian Exchange Limited, bringing over 27 years of extensive capital market. His expertise spans market regulation, surveillance, product and index design, risk management, compliance, and financial market operations. He is widely recognized for his contributions to capital market integrity, innovation, investor confidence, with a background in securities markets, banking, accounting, and data analytics. You're welcome. Okay. Also joining us today is Ms. Fumilayo Abdurrahman. She's the head of corporate finance in Ancoria Advisory Services Limited, where she leads equity and debt capital raising, mergers and acquisitions, private placements, and strategic advisory transactions. She has a solid background in credit, risk, financial analysis from her experience at GCR Ratings. With a strong interest in Islamic and ethical finance, she focuses on bridging the conventional corporate finance with Sharia-compliant solutions to promote inclusive and responsible capital allocation. She's an alumna of University of Lagos and a current student at the Business School of Netherlands. You're welcome. Is she here? Okay. All right. Please go ahead. All right. So next up is Dr. Shakiruddin Taiwo. He's the team lead for research and policy analysis at the Nigerian Economic Group (NESG). He holds degrees from Lagos State University and University of Lagos, and recently completed his PhD in University of Johannesburg. Please come to the stage. Thank you. So Dr. Hakeem Oyewale was supposed to be with us today, but I think he's going to be represented by Mubarak Abdulhamid. All right, Mr. Mubarak Abdulhamid, can you join us here, please? Okay. Mubarak, please, can we give it up for them? Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm sure everyone is excited to hear what the topic is. How do we initiate to one of national pillars? The national pillar. So we'll start with Ms. Fumilayo. Okay. So Ms. Fumilayo has been involved in many transactions, and her take on the industry will be very important to us. So from your deal experience, where do non-interest structures create genuine commercial advantages, and where do you struggle to compete with conventional financing?
All right, thank you once again. So in terms of commercial advantages, I'll say majorly when it comes to the structuring of the transaction. So in terms of, we've seen various structures in the market, particularly for the Sharia compliance in terms of the infrastructure related transactions, real estate and all of that. These are transactions that are backed with real assets, which is what Sharia compliance instruments really very big on, if not so of competitive advantage over the conventional transactions or conventional instruments. It's usually very clear where the cash flows are, discipline, the governance and everything, because even the Sharia advisors bring in those additional layers of scrutiny into Sharia compliance structures, which clearly gives it competitive advantage over the conventional ones. And where do we struggle? I would say majorly in terms of probably speed and cost. So speed in terms of there are different layers of other aspects that are not involved in the conventional transactions. So in conventional transactions, even for the commercial paper we are saying we want to launch, if it's a conventional one, there is nothing like the Sharia advisors having to review. Once we as the issuing house advisors adopt the structuring and we shared with the issuer, we send it to the regulator for review. But in this case, there is a Sharia advisor who has to even review. There is a trustee that have to come in place. So there are layers of checks and reviews, which slows down things compared to the conventional ones, and sometimes also additional costs because those professional parties still coming into play at its own. But does the cost justify the means? I would say maybe, because in terms of, at the end of the day, if this issue comes to the market multiple times and they are able to raise, and the market becomes familiar with them and it becomes easier, this cost also will gradually reduce as over time. And so, yeah, I think those are the major competitive advantage. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that. So, transparency and clarity is an advantage, while speed and cost is a disadvantage. All right, so we'll go to Mubarak. Mubarak is in Marble Capital, an asset management company. So I wanted to take you from the market players before I go to regulation. So Mubarak, welcome. So from an asset manager's perspective, where does non-interest finance currently fall short when compared to conventional instruments?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. So for non-interest financial instruments, I would say first liquidity, right? And Doctor alluded to something earlier. He said there are no commercial papers, there are no non-interest commercial papers listed on any of the exchanges. As of today, yes, but just before now, we had one that was listed, but I mean, it had matured, right? But beyond that, you would then see that it is quite difficult for investors to go in, to come out of their investments. And one of the things that investors always look at when they're trying to invest in instruments is their exit. Even for private equity, the first thing they're looking at is what's my exit. So if the major instrument in the non-interest market today is the Sukuk, which is a 7-year instrument or a 10-year instrument, and then the smaller ones, the commercial papers are shorter, so they are not really going to be traded. But the Sukuk, then you have to take 7 years before you can exit when the liquidity is not really there. So, and I believe that there are some work being done on that currently. The second thing would then be returns, right? Most times, because investors liken the non-interest space to the conventional space, for asset managers, for to be able to convince investors, then you have to be able to justify why their returns may not compete with the conventional returns sometimes. And some of these conventional instruments have that layer of corporate governance or trust that Islamic finance instruments come with. And so in the case where something happens, you don't really have that corporate governance structure that is at the same level. Yeah, they have, but it's not at the same level as Islamic finance structures. So they then start measuring their returns with conventional instruments. One of the things I do when I'm speaking to investors about Islamic finance instruments is the first thing you want to know is that, is it Sharia compliant? Is it permissible for me to earn? So if you earn that return that is high but is not permissible, of what use is it? Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mubarak, thank you so much for that. So liquidity is a challenge. Liquidity means it's not trading in the secondary market, okay? And of course, the layers of governance.
The layers of governance is not really the challenge,
Okay.
but
Which adds to the cost.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. So, so let's see if we can have some solutions. Going to Mr. Shakiruddin. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so going to Mr. Babalola, one of the gurus in the Nigerian exchange, right? That's a regulator. What are the biggest barriers today to building a liquid secondary market for non-interest instruments in Nigeria, and which of these can the NGX influence directly?
Yes, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In terms of challenge to liquidity, I think, in Nigeria, when we start something, there is this belief that if I buy sukuk, I must hold it till maturity. And that is not the standard. And for many reasons, you even see that in Islam, you might need to administer somebody's estate. And if that person had sukuk in his portfolio, you have to sell it. So that is a major thing that people need to understand, that if I buy a security, I don't necessarily have to keep it till maturity. If I have a need for funds or for capital, I can actually take it to the secondary market and sell. And that is why we at the NGX provide that platform where if you have any of the listed security and you want to sell today, you get your money back T+2, 2 days after that sales. So we need to let people know that if you buy this instrument and those instruments are listed, you can actually exit. Another thing that we have is that we need to put in place is market maker system. Today, the only reason why everybody keeps dollar is because if I have a need to convert that dollar to naira, there is a market maker outside there, which majority of us don't know that they are market makers, the malams. If I call them now, I have a dollar, he's asking me, are you buying or are you selling? And meaning they are market makers giving you two-way quotes. We have to develop the Islamic financial market to that level where at every time you want to sell, somebody is there to buy from you, and anytime you want to buy, somebody is out there to sell to you. And I think there's a framework for that. We need to deepen that market. We need to also enlighten people. I think education is also one thing that we need to. Yes, we've grown, and I think I like my brother when he say we've matured, but we've not matured. So we still continue to seek for knowledge and fill that gap, because a lot of people are here, they are experts, but they have limited knowledge as to what the whole concept of Islamic finance is all about. And I will say this here. Conventionally, unlike other models out there, Nigerian model started with the banking model of financing. Gradually, we're trying to make capital markets to replace that. And also gradually, we're trying to evolve the non-interest finance aspect of that so that we can finance all the necessary infrastructure that we require in Nigeria. And we can, because the market is there. My brother alluded to something. Government last year said I needed 300 billion. They got 2.1 trillion on Sukuk. And they have to say, no, we don't need more. Take back the money. Charge, give their own. It was successful. So we need to encourage more people to come to the market and use the market for developmental purpose. Today, we have an opportunity. Let me say this. And I think the president have done something fantastically well by empowering local government to have financial, autonomy. And I always say this to people. How do we come to that conclusion when we have empirical and history that have happened here? 1992, when President Babangida was trying to, bring us back to democracy, the first election we had was the no party, where people just went into election without a party. And in Lagos Island, Prince Adeniji Adele emerged as the local government chairman. He came to the capital market to raise 100 million. Part of what he used the 100 million for is the Shura market. Today, I didn't say he used the whole, part. Today, if you have to value Shura market, we'll be talking about. So, those of us who have opportunity of moving closer to state, local government, they can come to the capital market. They can come to the non-interest finance market and raise capital to develop their environment and their area, and people will forever remember them. So what it is, which area can the NGX play? Like we said, today we've launched the non-interest finance board. A board, when in the capital market, when we talk about a board, it's just like a segment of the market. Today we can track. We know what is happening on daily basis. We know what is being traded, so we can speak to volume and value of what is being traded in the non-interest finance sector. In terms of education, we also do a lot of, we can't do enough of that, and we'll continue to do that. Engage government both at federal, state, and municipal level, and also, like I said, the secondary market is there. The liquidity market makers is there. We'll continue to give them incentives so that they continue to provide liquidity for the market. And if we do all this, definitely we will attract more participants into the market. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So, making platforms available for all to trade in. Although I want to comment about holding to maturity. One of the reasons is because there are not enough instruments. So you're going to have reinvestment risk. If you sell your sukuk, what are you going to do with the money when there's not enough instruments? So I guess it's going to be a two-way street. While the index provides, the NGX provides platforms, there also has to be instruments. So thank you so much for that. So we'll go to Mr. Shakiruddin, right, our research expert, Dr. Shakiruddin, our research expert. From a policy and data perspective, what are the most significant structural gaps preventing non-interest finance from scaling beyond early adopters and niche markets in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. Somebody comes to Abakatu once more. So I think Mr. Pola has actually mentioned what I could say they are the issue, but I will just mention in specific. One of those issues is the Islamic finance always playing catch-up game. So we know the conventional market is developed, but we know we are there. But what we are playing is catch-up game. And in policy, when you play catch-up game, you keep working at the suboptimal level. And that's what has happened. What we are doing is catch-up game. There's a fund by the federal government, which we are aware of. Instead of us bringing up the non-interest window component to actually come along with the conventional, we wait. Then there's this, we now start fighting to then catch up. Then a little chunk of that huge fund will now say, okay, you since you like Wala, yeah, take this small one and let us. So the catch-up game would need, it's a policy, big policy issue, and I'm saying institute like the Institute for Finance needs to come up policy positions. We are starting 2026. You have to be clear to say, FGN, you have said you are raising Sukuk on what basis, and you are pushing. So we do that very well at where I work, the NESD. You know, we are think tank based. So what we do is to serve as the thought leadership is not there. So we keep the catch-up game. So that's the first one, and that has to do with the depth knowledge of the market. You have few qualified experts in that field, and experience also is also limited. So what Nigeria could have benefited from is if we have a backward integration of experts, maybe from Malaysia that has experienced their product development, then come back to Nigeria to develop such product. We'll have benefited a lot from it. We have few of Dr. Bashir in the market that can sit and say, this fund, let us structure it this way. You see a lot of times, you see him, you just coin, you can do Mudoraba, something. Just look at Dr. Bash and say, wow. And it's going to scale through there because it's talking from experience. So we also have this issue, and just like everyone has alluded to, the depth of demand and supply is also very weak. And that is also coming from if you have a lot of people that are knowledgeable in that way, they could come up with products. The local government will keep relying on facts. Some of the states will keep relying on facts, because a lot of them didn't understand you can actually raise a subnational sukuk. It's now they are just getting to then understand. So it's from that knowledge. So the depth of the market is also very weak. Lastly, Nigerian factor. Nigerian factor, even in policy, is there. For example, the National Development Plan 2021-2025, that the financing is around 65% external funding from government. There's nothing on, non-interest there. There's nothing. And I know a lot of lawmakers that are Muslims will have been there, but when it's not there, that's Nigeria. Number two of that Nigerian factor is anytime they hear Islam, no. So which then means that for each of the player in this non-interest market need to help with awareness issue. Even sometimes the regulator is scared to actually include that face in the document. He's just scared that we just go for a stakeholder engagement and they turn it into, especially if the head of that regulator is not a Muslim. It's another ballgame. So what we are saying here is that awareness. I think the Sharia Advisory Council of each should say every year for asset management firm or firms that are players in this market, organize awareness section. Don't only tell people bring money to invest in the market, also educate them about that market. Do an education that is meant for, and lastly, our elite has not agreed that Islamic finance have to. That Sukuk success is an example of our elite saying, yes, we have to go this line. We have to take 10% as against 20% that conventional gives us. our elite. Whenever we say elite, you know what I mean. Not like somebody like me that elite that has that reserve to push the market to ensure that liquidity my brother spoke about. They have not agreed. There is no consensus among the Muslim elite or the Nigerian elite that this market has to grow. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. So we're playing the catch-up game. We need more experience. But I want to comment on something you said about the buy-in, which I agree with. So sometimes not everybody cares if it's Sharia compliant or not. And if they see a conventional product that has a higher return, they will go there. So I guess the thing here is, can we all be patient and watch the market grow and support the market? So if there's just a 2% variation, still support the non-interest transaction, and over time, the market will grow. Because like one of the things we observed there from both Ms. Fulaya and Mubarak is that because you have Sharia compliance certification, it adds a layer of cost, but it's necessary for the market to grow. So it still needs support. Over time, and as the market continues to scale, then things will become cheaper. Okay, fine. So we have, Mubarak, I'll come back to you as a market participant. What specific structural or market infrastructure gaps must be addressed before institutional investors can allocate capital to non-interest products?
Structural gaps before institutional investors can come in. Some of the things that we've seen, we have some funds out there, and some of the things that we've seen is that institutions will tell you that they cannot invest, especially PFAs, that they cannot invest because they need this particular rating for them to be able to invest. But thankfully, I think that the regulations on the pension funds are getting more easier, right? Because you cannot have that much assets in conventional funds when it should be in non-interest funds, fund six or instruments. So I think regulations first, right? And I think Mariana Mazzucato in the Entrepreneur State, the book she wrote, she talked about how governments first have to be the ones to push innovation, right? And we have seen it with our regulators. We've seen that interest in pushing the innovation and also in pushing, especially in this case, the Islamic finance space. They are showing that interest, they're pushing it. Federal government is issuing, state governments are issuing, corporates are then following suit to also then issue. All right. The second thing is education. Like he said, apart from the firms doing the education thing, there was something that the federal government did last year for the sukuk. They brought different influencers to explain the sukuk to the people. While we may not see it as a factor in having that much speed, but I do understand, I do believe that it helped to inform the public better, and not only in personal investors, now institutional investors as well, because they then better understand the instruments that they're putting their assets into, and then they can then come to the non-interest capital market players to say, oh, we have not heard about this, and this. Can you explain better to us? And then they are better comfortable in bringing funds into that. I think education is second one. Corporate governance is solid. We have seen what these things have been. I mean, the instruments are being put into, right? For me, those are like the three structural things that we need to work on. Majorly education to help institutional investors come in to the non-interest space more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So regulation should encourage innovation, and of course, everyone here has spoken about education. All right, so we don't have much time left, but I can still ask a couple of questions. Ms. Fumilayo, what role should advisors play in standardizing documentation, educating clients, aligning regulatory expectations to support scalable non-interest deals? All right, thank you. So in terms of aligning non-interest transactions, I think for advisors, there is no need to reinvent the wheel. While there are few instruments out there, we can, well, majorly for the conventional instruments, documentation has been standardized over the years. Regulation processes and reviews are faster because they are the familiar things. But for the non-conventional ones, like the non-interest, we as advisors, what we majorly try to do, like for this, is to like bring parties in the room early, discuss and understand. Everybody has understanding of what the structure is, what you're trying to do, and then where there are similar structures, just go along with those existing structures, simplify things as much as possible to ensure that things are faster and there is less friction along the line. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. So reduce the time to market by, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Exactly. All right, thank you so much for that. So Mr. Babalola, very quickly, your final question is, what would you prioritize? If there was one thing you could prioritize to accelerate adoption, what would it be?
I think liquidity, because to really attract and retain investors, you have to have a functional secondary market where exiting will not be a problem. Because if I invest and I cannot exit, no matter what you do around product standardization, all the necessary Sharia compliance, when I need my money, I need my money. Okay. So you must create a market that today, if I come in, I should be able to go out. So liquidity is very important. And I think that is one thing, because if you look at the whole market today, we're doing an average of $16 million per day. Our plan is to take it up to $100 million per day. And the reason for that is that the more liquid your market is, the more you're able to attract more funds all over the world. Because when it comes to capital market and you want to use it for developmental purposes, the money doesn't have to reside in Nigeria. So I want to talk to a fund manager in US to say, if you want to think of investing your pension fund and you're thinking of Africa, you must think about Nigeria first. These are the variables he's going to look at. That if I bring my money in, at what point will I be able to take it out? So it is liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Thank you.
Excellent. Liquidity, market. Thank you so much for that. I think that rounds it up. So one final question for Dr. Shakiruddin. Right. Many projections assume a rapid growth for non-interest finance. Do you have any evidence to support this?
So, thank you very much. So we will see the economy will grow a lot higher. So bringing NESD forecast, so we think we'll grow 5.5 in 2026, supported by a lot of factors. So we see this year our risk sector will grow very well. And Islamic finance is risk sector based. So as a result of that, the market will grow. But the question Mr. Bukola, as everyone is asking, is how are we able to play in that space? So which I think, the question you have said is, can we create a sort of sandbox regulatory that ensures everybody just take it off? And it helps, the time to market is easier. I know I have to meet this before I just do. So empirical, our macro is due. Our inflation is coming down. And the gap between inflation and the economic growth rate is the market opportunity. So it is like this, and our growth is like this. So that huge market opportunity is what we are saying we want to play in. Number three, we have seen a global shift from multilateralism to pluralism. It is, multilateralism before, everyone, now it's pluralism. So, and as a result of that, ODAs has reduced. ODAs means the assistance development, the overseas development assistance that they give to countries to grow. It has reduced. There's a lot of withdrawals from those people that give us drugs. That's why you could see governments reinvesting a lot in health. A lot of vaccine that we have for free is now. So these are spaces that we think the Islamic finance could. Healthcare support, manufacturing. So it then means that the money that we use to grow Nigeria is in Nigeria. So as a result of that, and the best way you can tell people to bring money is when you show them of entry, impact. The impact is that you put this, and then you assure them of exit too. So I tell people to do the numbers between, and I think the three states have said you are going to cook this year: Ogun, Zamfara, and Kano. It means the Islamic finance will grow. Lastly, I think fund 4 or fund 6? Fund 6, it's doing pretty well with our pension. So can we have people unlock that? That money didn't just sit there. I think that money is just there. Islamic finance asset should build products to put pension managers in the way to bring that your money. I think it's now. I just want to put the number. So the money is growing. And I know a lot of us that we are here that are pension owners. We have said our money should go there. So it means, so all this statistic is saying the market will grow. How is that able to support that growth? I think it's the question we need to answer for everyone in the room.
Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah, we've come to the end of this panel discussion.
Sorry, if you don't mind, I wanted to add just one more point, which I think that we have made. It is very important for us to have access to data, quality and immediate data, right? Because without data, you can't make decisions, right? And out there, I know that there are a number of entities that are working on Islamic finance data, but it's not enough, right? And even the Nigerian capital market data as well is not enough, right? So if we have entities who are coming up, I do believe that the index that was launched today is also an endeavor into making that data access more open to everybody. So it makes us have that comfort and confidence in the market that we are trying to build. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. As we all know, data is the new gold, so everyone must have it. And even all the AI platforms are run with data. So to round up, we believe our market is a new market. Well, we really mature and there are many opportunities. And as the opportunities grow, our market is also grow. It's clear that there's a lot of awareness and education required. It's also clear that some structural gaps need to be addressed. And market liquidity, that would help. The more demand and supply grows, and go up as a fee, that would help. And of course, time to market is also very important, so we can compete with the conventional financial advisors. And of course, innovation. Innovation is very important to continue to evolve. So with all of this, I believe that we've had a pretty nice discussion, and I hope that you all learn more about the industry today. All right, thank you very much.
Questions and answers. Okay, one person. We're taking 3 questions. Any other person? Okay, 2. Female, exactly. Gender equality.
Thank you. This is so exciting. I appreciate all the comments from and all protocols observed. My name is Michael Ipere. I work for Taj Bank. I cover Lagos Island and Southwest. Just to reiterate what the first speaker said on costs associated with Islamic financing, that is the non-interest financial space. I think we need a lot of awareness in this area. The truth is that it is cheaper in non-interest financial institution space, financing customers, because we don't charge a lot of charges that is associated with financing in the conventional bank. So for instance, what we call the normal COT in those days, we don't charge COT. When we are financing in Islamic financing space, we don't charge you management fees. We also don't charge you processing fees. We also don't take legal fees. We also don't charge you advisory fees. Okay? We need to get this. And also, our only challenge is that the risk associated with Murabaha financing is such a big risk for the non-interest financial space, because once those risks crystallize in Muraba financing, the banks earn nothing in those, and associated with the peculiarity of our environment,
where we have a lot of default in financing, then it becomes a challenge to financing through the Muraba. The second challenge is that we don't have enough windows for outlets in investment in Islamic financing. This we hope we can work with NAUDA and also with other stakeholders to develop products to be approved by CBN, the ACE and the FRIC, so that we can have enough windows to compete in the market with the conventional banks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been an experience. Greetings to the royal fathers and it's been an experience for me. I operate in this space, and the one I spent here. Okay, I'm Professor Timothy Benganubi, the director of Center for Housing, University of Lagos. I've been hearing this, that the level of information gathered in the last 30 minutes is quite amazing. Thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for enlightening. And if at my level I'm so ignorant, then you can imagine the level of education that's needed out there. It's like Dr. Shakidin, your proficiency and your understanding. Probably we can dig deeper, because there are so many things you brought up that needed to be addressed. You said something that immediate people here is still, there is a withdrawal. It's the way it is. Unfortunately, this is the way we have found ourselves. I come from a Muslim background. My grandfather happened to be Balogun Muslimu. Growing up, there was no difference between church and mosque. Growing up, how we find ourselves in this situation, I don't understand. Because the church in my town, the chief imam contributed to the construction. And during the Yidi, during the layers, we go to the Yidi together. We Christians, we stay outside. And we'll be waiting for them to go home and kill Ram and eat together. That's the way we grew up. But today, everything has changed. For reasons best known to those who use religion to control power, to control people. So, if we have this understanding, and the general atmosphere in the country today is the fear of Islamization of Nigeria. Immediately you say Islamic fund, you say, this is part of the agenda to Islamize Nigeria. So, innocent question. Do we lose anything if we don't call this in Islamic finance? What is wrong with non-interest finance? What is wrong with Sukuk? Should we compulsorily put Islamic, that immediately you mention that fear, that it's not for us, it's for those who are strictly Muslim. So do we need to contend with that if we can do with Islam or Muslim? It's just an innocent question. But there are so many things that you said, sir. If this product, Nigeria will have problems. I am in the university. I play in the space of housing. And I know this is a pain in this country. So many professors retiring today, after 45 years in service, no house to retire to. And in the last few months, I've cracked my brain, and it's like every day there's no solution to housing finance in Nigeria. The cheapest, we talked to one of these big developers yesterday, who was telling us that cheapest land at Shimawa near Ijebu is 20 million plot of land. If plot of land is 20 million, and the cheapest house, where 4 houses were built on a plot, the cheapest is 60 million. Then where will the professor? If this problem is there, if I'm a professor today and I know that through packaging I could get funding from Islamic. Let them write Islamic is good. I will go and assess it. So why are we not focusing on products that are their national need? Like you said, the health sector, that there are withdrawal of funds from foreign grants now. So if we are focusing on health sector and housing, will Nigeria not benefit from this new funding to the country in quote? Thank you so much. That's my thank you.
The woman?
Thank you for the indulgence. My name is Amina Muhammad. I'm a media practitioner. Thank you very much, Arthur Group, for this. I want to join others to commend this initiative. Very interesting indeed. And I'm thinking that I'm also knowing that the narrative is gradually changing. I was fielding questions with the Chief Imam, Chief Missioner earlier. Very laudable project, nice program, but everybody has actually alluded to the fact that how does this information cascade to the entire Nigerians and those in the Islamic space? And the one that is even very enthusing is the fact that the Prof just spoke and the Taj Bank representative also spoke regarding. So it's not about Islam. This is something that is needed. One of the panelists said, think Islamic finance, think Nigeria. I've taken that away. That's a slogan out of this place. So that means we are space leaders. So the question really is, I also spoke with Professor Tajuddin Yusuf. We have major players in this space. But how come information is, I don't want to use the word hoarded. We don't need to do more. If we have 2, 3 more people doing what Dr. Bashir is doing like this, Prof said a lot of information reloaded, overloaded. I am educated. I'm not in this space. I'm just a media practitioner. A lot of information has been disseminated here today. So the concern is, which everybody has alluded to, how do we make this information get down there? I'm available. Thank you.
Okay, I said questions and answers, but since most people were actually questioning and answering their questions, so I don't know if, but do you guys want anybody to give an input on the panel floor to like contribute to anything you said? Okay, fantastic. Okay, I think that would be all. Would be, welcoming you back on the floor. Thank you so much for the wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Round of applause for them, please. Okay, pictures for our panelists, please. Photographers. Dr. Bashir. All right, thank you so much, panelists, for the wonderful session. So I would like to personally contribute to what has happened so far, based up on education, awareness, innovation. Throughout today, the conversation has been around so many things, so many resonating things, and awareness, education, and innovation has been repetitive. And then the talk about Islamic finance. So I host a program called Islamic Finance Weekly on Web TV, and it means I get to discuss with a lot of people in the Islamic space and even in the non-Muslim space. We do Vox Pop, and we get to discuss with people, the public, the common man, the common Nigerian, and each time we ask them, do you know about Islamic finance? And some people say no, and then the few people that tend to know about it go, isn't that the finance for the Muslim people? Right? So the question always remains, should we call it Islamic finance or should it be non-interest finance? Should it be ethical finance? Should it be inclusive finance? What should it really be? But that shouldn't be the concern, to be honest, because in the other countries, I mean in the Gulf region, this is a normal term. Everybody knows that. Once you say Islamic finance, it doesn't mean it's finance for the Muslim people. It is an alternative finance. In fact, it's not new. It's not niche. It has been in existence, but then we are adopting it now. So just because we're adopting it now doesn't mean it's innovative, doesn't mean it is for the Muslim people. It just means it's a time to take a shift. It is a time to adopt something that works for every single person, including the underserved population. Thank you so much for still being here. Thank you so much for your patience. So I'd like to recognize a few people. I'd like to recognize Kabir Musa Jema, Directorate of Accounting Standards, Private Sector and Islamic Finance. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Professor Olatoye, Dean of Law, Lagos State University, and also recognize the presence of Afolabi Olorode, the Chief Executive of Southwest Merchant Bank. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on to the last thing on our list. That is the presentation by Wazobia Set. This will be done by none other than Mr. Okoya Thomas. Please, sir, we're welcoming you to the stage. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Okoya Thomas. Gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Mr. Okoya Thomas. This is the last presentation, I promise.
Good afternoon. Very quickly, is a short presentation. I will just quickly introduce architect Obey Yamabo, who will take the presentation. We should have our chairman here today, but he had to rush out of the country 2 days ago, so he could not make it. He sends his apologies. We are a real estate and construction firm, and this is just to introduce the esteemed audience today to a project that is coming up very soon. So please, Architect Yamabo.
Good afternoon all. Kabiyesi, Oniro Yoruland. I stand on existing protocol. My name is Architect Obehi Yamabo. I work with Wazobia Group. I bring apologies from our chairman, Mr. Toga, who is unavoidably out of the country, like Mr. Koya Thomas said. We have been involved in numerous housing projects all over the continent, including Nigeria, under various subsidiaries. And we would like to present one of our flagship projects that we believe you will find particularly exciting, because this project speaks to different aspects of our lives, because this one is not just a housing project, but it also involves commercial. It also involves so it also has commercial, residential, industrial, recreational, and shopping facilities. So please, I have quite a number of slides, so I would like to operate this myself so that I can read through the presentation. Okay. So what you have up there is, can I move this? Can't get there. Can you move this? registration, fine. Yes, can I move this? Oh, okay. Okay, so as you can see from that layout, we have residential, industrial, and commercial. Um, Dr. Oshodi had spoken earlier about real estate as an area of investment, and we know we have a massive housing deficit. It's a global problem, but particularly in Nigeria. And as Prof mentioned, these projects would speak to a need that we have in the society. So we have I'll take you through our proposal very quickly. The residential area, that's the general site layout of the residential complex. It's on about 19 hectares of land, and we have various house types: 2-bedroom flats, 3-bedroom flats, 3-bedroom detached houses, and 4-bedroom detached houses. The 2-bedroom flats, we have 96 units, 128 3-bedroom flats, and 130 3-bedroom detached houses, 172 detached houses. We have recreational areas, and the house types are all grouped. The red blocks you see there are 2-bedroom flats. The blue blocks are 3-bedroom flats. The yellow blocks are 3-bedroom detached houses, and the 4-bedroom detached houses are the red you see. And we also have some site and services plots as well. And that's like an aerial view of the estate. And as you come in, you have the recreational area. Go on. Our recreational area has various recreational facilities, basketball courts, 5-a-side football pitches, tennis courts, clubhouse, swimming pool, games rooms. And this is the layout of the recreational building. You have a gym, games room on the first floor, changing rooms, and a lounge. And this is the three-dimensional view of the clubhouse, and this is what you see as you come into the estate. This is what welcomes you, and it's positioned in such a way that outside visitors can also use the recreational facilities without having to walk or drive into the main residential area. That's another view of the clubhouse, the swimming pool, the 5-a-side pitch, and next slide. So this is the 3-bedroom detached house. It has an entrance port, living area, dining area, guest toilet, kitchen, laundry store, and a 1-room BQ on the ground floor. My slides have the areas of each of those spaces. And on the first floor, we have a family living room, master bedroom with a walk-in closet, and 2 ensuite bedrooms, total of 3 bedrooms in each of the houses. And this is what the three-bedroom house looks like. In this particular estate, we are not doing typical, simple finishes for estates. We're trying to make this a bit bespoke. We believe that you can deliver very high quality at affordable price. And houses look, they have their own unique flavor. And this is like an aerial view of the three-bedroom area in the estate. The next is the four-bedroom. The four-bedroom detached house. On the ground floor, we have an anteroom, visitor's toilet, living, dining, kitchen, guest bedroom, two-room BQ. The spaces are more lavish than in the three-bedroom. And on the first floor, we have a master bedroom with his and hers walk-in closet, a family lounge, box room, and two other ensuite bedrooms. And this is what the four-bedroom detached house looks like on the outside. Prof, I'm sure this will interest you. And this is what the street will look like where the four-bedroom houses are. And this is the two-bedroom flat. Two-bedroom flat is on ground and four suspended floors. The entire ground floor is dedicated to parking. We have more than adequate parking for each apartment. And, well, okay, I know I said I would be raised, but yeah, thank you. So on each floor, we have four flats: living, dining area, visitor's toilet, kitchen, two bedrooms with sharing WC and shower, and an escape staircase, and an elevator, which is quite novel, but we believe that should be standard. But here where we are, it's a bit novel. So this is what the two-bedroom flat looks like on the outside. And like I said earlier, there are four flats on each floor, and they have escape staircase on the side, and main staircase and elevator in the central core. The three-bedroom flat, similar to the two-bedroom, four on each floor, the elevator, living, dining, three bedrooms, the master, the ensuite, kitchen, store, and external staircase. And this is what the three-bedroom block of flats looks like. You can see it's not the standard three-bedroom or flats that you have. So this is the shopping area that I said we have. If you remember what the master plan looked like, this is right next to the residential area. The reason why a lot of residential estates have failed in the past, even though when people go and locate houses in the middle of nowhere, there are no support facilities, no industries that would justify people relocating there. So here we have a shopping area close to the residential, and we have an anchor shop and about 360 shops within the shopping mall. And we also have what we call a village market. So we're trying to cater for different shopping experiences. We have a food court on the top floor, and we have three cinemas. We have three cinemas on the top floor in the shopping complex. So this is what the shopping complex looks like from the outside. We have ground and two suspended floors. And it's not your typical shopping complex. But what we try to do is to create the right level of quality in whatever it is that we are building, such that people feel like they are being properly considered, in that we have the right level of finishing, the right level of aesthetic value to whatever it is that we are proposing. And this is what the shopping center looks like from the top. Okay, and so we have also an industrial park. Like I said, all of these are in close proximity to each other. We have an industrial park where we have small and medium-scale enterprises, medium-sized industries, and large industries. So up there is our main entrance. We have a truck park, and the SMEs are on that part of the upper part of the site. The mid-sized industries, the yellow side, the light green, and then the red are the large-scale industries. And it's actually in a free trade zone, so it will be a particularly attractive industrial estate for investors. So this is what the industrial park will look like, and I'll invite Mr. No. Okay, so that's basically our flagship project that we're about to commence, and I think it will be an excellent investment opportunity for everybody. Thank you. The location is somewhere around Festa Town, in that axis on the mainland, and it's a large expanse. This is just the first phase of our plans for that immediate region. Pricing. I deliberately skipped pricing. I actually have pricing on my slides, which is why I wanted my man here. But there are a lot of factors that influence our pricing. If I give the prices today, they're based on what the market has said to us now, and there will just be a guide. It's an intelligent guide. We don't want people to put handcuffs on my hand today and say, when you presented, you said this was how much the price was. Sir? There's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't go down. And there's no reason why it wouldn't go up. So on the average, the houses are between 120 to 180 million naira for the detached houses. Within the recreational area, we have small spaces dedicated to religious worship and security. We have a security post, a mosque, and a church, but they're not elaborate. Sir? No, we have over 256 hectares of land in that location. So there is room for inclusion of whatever. If we want to up the scale of the places of worship, we are very much at liberty to do so. Like I said, we've only used up maybe 30% of what is available to us in that location. And we'll be glad to take a feedback with us to improve whatever it is that we have provided at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Architect Iyama Boy. I think you've gotten a few skills from here. Well, since everybody's, in case you guys buy houses, I do interior design, so I can design your house for you, okay? And I'm not joking, yes, I do interior design. I know doctor is looking at me like, Rama, you like money? So next one, we'll be talking about the trailer business in Akodo. This is going to be done by Alaji Lekon Animation. Well, I got a feedback that I've been murdering some people's names. Please forgive me. I am Hausa and my intonation with Yoruba names is quite bad, so forgive me. Thank you so much. You're welcome, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will start by doing a small introduction of Akodo. I know most people will know Akodo, but I'll still do that. If you are familiar, if you've been, hearing about Dangote Refinery. So Akodo is one of the old communities to Dangote Refinery, and you have a lot of opportunity there, which I'm going to actually try to tell everybody. All our plans there is by no other than
His Royal Majesty Oba Abdulhakeem Babatunde Olokodano. And, you know, he has actually done that so that at least it will be different from, you know, just the business of selling land. So I will try to get in some of the projects that we want you as an investor to come be our partner. We have 3 good projects that we are currently embarking upon now, and you know, one of them is the real estate. Just as you mentioned, we have real estate as one of the projects that Akodo is, you know, start to showcase to the investor. We have a industrial park too as well. So we want to do our own, you know, smart city that can, you know, offer a lot of opportunities to the industry, the investor that like to invest in Akodo. You know, you can see we actually leverage on 3 things. That's the direct access to the Dangote Road coastal corridor. At least everybody here, you know what Lagos, Calabar, the coastal road is all about. So Akodo offers that as one of the, you know, strategic advantage to the investors. So then we have Lekki Deep Sea Port. I know everybody is aware of that as well. Lekki Deep Sea Port, which is, you know, is making a lot of, you know, activities right now. And we have Dangote Refinery, as I, you know, mentioned before. So that's a unique triple advantage that Akodo offers. So, and then we have a built-in demand and solution. An industrial park has directly solved the severe haulage congestion for the free trade zone, offering immediate demand from port and refinery support businesses for its critical infrastructure space. Another thing I want to mention here is that we, in fact, Trust Arthur has really, you know, we've been together for quite some time now. So one of the things that Trust Arthur is, you know, championing is the industrial, is the trailer park. You know, all these activities that I've mentioned, you have a lot of, you have huge, you know, trucks, you know, coming there for deep sea ports, for Dangote has his own, you know, truck arranged already, for free trade zone, for Lagos free zone as well, and then you know, for almost all the other industries. That there are so many manufacturing industry there. So Trust Arthur and Akodo, you know, are currently, you know, doing that partnership, that to have a trailer park in place. So this is what we want to be able to come. The investors to come and invest in Akodo. Then the premium real estate value, just as what the president said just now, that's what, you know, Akodo Smart City is all about. So even though I got this notice at a very short time, so we'll have, you know, actually, make some presentation on Akodo, but this is what we have in Akodo, and we know, we believe that most investors there, you know, it's going to be a win-win for us, you know, considering the fact that Trust Arthur is already in, with us in Akodo. So, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Alaji Lekon. Thank you so much for that. If anyone has any further questions, you can reach out to Arthur Group or Dr. Bashir. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient once again. So we've tried to be on time. It's 1:05, 1:07, so we're trying to round up now. So hand over the mic to Professor Karim Olatoye, the Dean Faculty of Law at Lagos State University, for the vote of thanks. Professor Karim Olatoye, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Professor Karim Olatoye.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Just like every one of us here, I'm also an invitee, so I'm surprised how the organizers asked me to come and do vote of thanks. But I guess the reason is my primary duty is education, and so when I came here, part of my duty is to assess how the information in respect of Islamic finance is being disseminated out there. So if that's part of my duty, I should then, having listened to all the discussions, be able to determine whether they actually did it well or not. And if they did it well, I should appreciate them. Standing on all the existing well-established protocol, I want to say that all who have been here today to help in the dissemination of information about Islamic finance, they've all done very well. Reading from the discussions of the day, even though I've been teaching for a long time, you know, for professors or lecturers, we are primarily teaching theories. And so some of our students, we thought, went into the space, the practice space. I have a number of them here who have become MD of, financial institutions. So they sometimes do better than us when it comes to discussions of issues around financing. So I really gained a lot of things from those who have discussed, a panel of discussions, the professor and a number of people who have contributed one way or the other. I want to say thank you very much. I can see another professor there, even though I didn't hear him speak, but I know if he had contributed, they would have made an impact. We thank you all for the information you have disseminated. And I want to confirm that all that they have told the audience today is exactly what Islamic financing is about. But I know they didn't say it all. For want of time, there will be other opportunities. That's what our brother Dr. Basir is into. We would have to organize more programs like this. We also hope Lagos State University will be able to invite people to come around and also speak to Nigerians about Islamic finance. All those who are operating in real sector space, who have mentioned to us what they have for us, Akodo and the other estate expert who has discussed with us. I hope part of what you are doing is Islamic financing. Because I started hearing about, certain things that I wanted to ask the organizers whether they put into consideration the Islamic financing. Because when you represent out there that you are doing Islamic financing, you must do it in compliance with Sharia. That's what the law says. So I want to appreciate all of you for being here, having listened attentively, those who lectured, those who listened, and I believe the consequence of this will be that the investors will bring a lot of money into Islamic finance space. I want to say finally, Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. All right, thank you so much, sir. I think you have a lot to say today, but sorry, we're short on time. So, okay, so I realized a lot of people got the Afro group I mentioned earlier wrongly. Some people said they had Afro group. I'm sorry, maybe it's my tongue. Arthur group, A-R-T-H-U-R. Arthur group. Please, can you display it on the screen so that Arthur group. Arthur Group Limited on Instagram. Please, if you haven't followed, please do follow them on Instagram now. So I'll be handing over the mic to our father, Professor T. Badamasi, a retired professor of history, to give us a vote of thanks and prayer. Yes, sir, and prayer. Prayer mostly. Prayer. Yes, sir, closing prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We thank the good Lord for his inestimable mercy to us today. We thank him for the opportunity to interact. We thank him for being able to achieve many of the goals we wanted. We thank him for the opportunity of launching the index. We thank him also for the panel that we had that was so enriching. We thank him for the various presentations which were eye-opening. Oh Lord, we thank you for all these mercies, and we beseech you to accept our prayer of thanks and gratitude. As we are about to depart, we beseech you, O God, that we continue to bless and bless and bless our group of companies. We beseech you also to bless our humble efforts in your cause. We beseech you also that when we meet again, we have abundant cause to thank you. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء. اللهم ربنا تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم ربنا لا تدع في مكاننا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا دينا إلا قضيته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا غما إلا فرجته، ولا جاهلا إلا علمته، ولا مريضا إلا شفيته، ولا حاجة من هوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها الصلاة ولك الإيمان إلا قضيتها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا جنة مع الأبرار يا لطيف يا غفار يا رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you so much, sir. Jazakallah khair. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. We're sending our heartfelt gratitude to His Royal Majesty the Onuru.
Arthur Group was established to help reshape how finance works, built on the principle of partnership.
All right, I think you want to play the video? Okay, so we would be watching the video of Arthur Group's journey. I see some people are trying to stand up already. We have lunch after this. Please just spare us 1 minute to watch this video. We round up and we go eat. If you leave now, you will not eat.
Finance should build value, not extract it. It should serve people, not burden them. Arthur Group was established to help reshape how finance works, built on the principle of partnership, discipline, and trust. We are a Nigerian-led platform advancing non-interest finance across advisory, markets, and investments. We work with institutions, governments, and investors to design ethical financial solutions, strengthen governance, and build market confidence where it matters most. From structured capital market instruments to trustee services and market intelligence, Arthur Group connects real assets to real capital. Our work is grounded in clarity, execution, and long-term thinking. Across Lagos, Abuja, and key growth corridors, our projects and platforms reflect disciplined delivery, strategic partnerships, and a commitment to sustainable value. This is more than a new chapter. This is a new standard. Arthur Group, advancing non-interest finance with purpose.
Arthur Group from idea to reality. Congratulations, Dr. Bashir. Congratulations, Arthur Group. Congratulations to everyone for making it to the end of the program today. I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to His Royal Majesty, the Onir of Yoruland, and all of our royal fathers present here today. I want to extend my appreciation to every single person, CEOs, directors, executive directors. Every person here is a stakeholder. I mean, every person here is a go-getter. I want to appreciate all of you, and I want to appreciate myself for pulling us through this event and making sure I'm rounding up with smiles on your faces. Thank you so much for making it through. Now you can have your lunch. Bye.